Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. The spotter said it was clear. It wasn't clear, and, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I felt. I called him out. He didn't show. And so, I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out about until it was too late. It's a shame. Love their riblets and boneless wings, but...
All right, folks, welcome back to Meet Me at Applebee's, your number one unrefined motorsports podcast. It's Brian here with Rob and Ashley, as always. It was a weekend of racing out in California, and you guys did some short track stuff of your own, but so how we all doing this week?
I'm still pretty tired, to be honest with you, and I think True Love's in the same boat. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
I am very tired, and I also just ate a king-size candy bar, so...
Oh, what kind?
That...
Reese's Outrageous or something.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
Yeah, got the diabetes.
Awesome. A classic.
Yeah.
Good for your teeth.
Yeah, who needs them?
Yeah.
So it's going to be the Brian hour here, because True Love and I didn't hardly watch the second of NASCAR all weekend. I think we're pretty well aware of what happened. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I caught the highlights, yeah.
Yeah, Brad's going to take the lead here off the top.
I did not do any racing stuff this weekend, although I did have my friend Phil from frontstretch.com. He was in town covering the IMSA race, cool. Which I did not go to at all. I had my own stuff going on, but he filled me in. He said he had a good time, and go check that out if you're a sports car guy, which I'm not. But
you ever gone to an IMSA race before?
I haven't. I was supposed to go a couple years ago, or I don't know if it was last year. Rob from the group, he was supposed to go when he was working for a team, but like last minute the team pulled out, so I did not go because I just wanted to hang out with him.
You mean Mike?
I forget. His name is Rob. Fucking I'm an idiot. His handle is Rob. See, it's Mike. I'm not dirty. Mike's probably listening to this, so sorry, Mike.
I was gonna say, like, I never worked on an MC team. I'm the only one.
Like, how many Robs y'all got over there now?
Yeah, just the one, I guess. But anyways, back to other road course racing. Yeah, Sonoma was this weekend with Xfinity and Cup.
Speaking of IMSA racing.
Yeah. Saturday Xfinity race was pretty decent. It was dominated by SVG, which wasn't really anybody's surprise to see that, but really the big highlight of that whole thing was SVG booting Austin Hill out in the last restart and getting his win back from Coda, which that was the real thing that everybody was kind of, at least Denny Hamlin especially, was like, was Coda really necessary for payback? Well, I think it was.
Race how you want to be raced, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very strong win by SVG, and yeah, he didn't completely knock Austin out of the way. Like, he knocked him out of the way, but he didn't like knock him off course or anything. Austin, I think, still got a top 5 finish out of it. But after the race, however, SVG went to do his patented full course drifts, and while he started his burnout behind Austin, who was flipping him off, so then he just chased him around the track doing burnouts around him the entire time. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
Just amazing. After the race, Austin, I forget his exact quote, but he was very tight-lipped. He mentioned keyboard warriors, and I think he's aware of everybody calling him a crybaby now, so he didn't say much about getting booted out by SVG. But SVG, however, in his post-race press conference, when asked if that was payback for Coda, gave the most stern, like, confident answer that I've ever seen from a driver. Like, just, yep, that was 100% payback for Coda. Like, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And, SVG, I guess he has a little bit of a history of this over in supercars. It's not his first time knocking somebody out of the way. And obviously here in NASCAR, that's territory, especially in Xfinity. So he is very much acclimated himself to the Xfinity cars. And now he's just got to figure out the ovals, and I think we'll have a real contender for Cup. I'm assuming in the next couple of years when he heads over there. But
yeah, he knows how to get around. That's for sure. And I think wasn't his exact quote? He took a win off me, so I took a win off him, or something like that. Or we're even.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like that Austin Hill said something to the effect of, well, it doesn't seem to matter what I say to people. They have their own opinion about it before I open my mouth, or something like that, which is also true. So a lot of self-awareness going on this weekend for once.
It's definitely a battle between those two where, they're both pretty hard-headed dudes, and they're both big guys. So, like, if it ever actually comes to blows,
can't wait.
It's going to be a fucking battle.
Cannot wait for this to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Austin Hill's got the stockiness on his side. I think he's a little wider, but SVG is very tall. So, yeah, this is finally a matchup. It's not some Ty Gibbs on another child type fight.
Yeah.
It's
like it's also like good versus evil, since SVG's become probably the most loved in Xfinity, and Austin Hill is 100% the most hated. So it's great.
Yeah,
I love everything about it.
Yeah, it's perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Once he gets the ovals together, that's going to be something to watch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Moving on to Sunday, though. Sunday was definitely a pretty interesting race. Definitely one of the more interesting road course races in the last couple years, I would say, especially at Sonoma. It really started out as a total shit show. The first 30 laps, I think there were 7 cautions, something like that, which was, I think they broke the track record for cautions. A lot of really stupid moves. There was a big pile up. There's actually a big pile up on Saturday too that Ty Gibbs was involved in. But,
he just got pissed off and put his foot to the floor and took his teammate out in the process 30 seconds after the wreck.
Yeah. Which,
good job.
Yeah.
That's not how you do it.
It definitely was a bad look on Sunday, especially after, all the Indy stuff that just happened and the race before on Saturday. Bad look by a lot of different drivers. But after all the chaos kind of calmed down and we got into a normal race, Michael McDowell did really good. He actually was involved in an early wreck and ended up getting back up to second place, which, you really can't deny how good he is on road courses.
No, not at all.
But at the end of the day, Kyle Larson ended up getting the win after... he had the lead before Truex ran out of gas, which that's a whole nother topic of conversation. I think if you were wondering if this will be Truex's last year, I feel like this is going to be it.
That certainly pushed it in one direction, that's for sure.
Yeah. After the last few weeks, I feel like we're going to be getting that announcement that he's done soon. So we'll see how that goes.
Seems pretty well over it.
Additionally, on the last lap, we had Kyle Busch getting booted out of the way by Ross Chastain, who apparently that was an accident. He says it wasn't on purpose, and even Junior seemed to back him up that he kind of got in too deep and wheel hopped it a little bit and got into Kyle accidentally. It didn't matter for Kyle anyways, because he also ended up running out of gas, so just completely fucked his day. I don't know what the hell's going on with these guys and fuel strategy, but this is a first between this week and last week. First time in a minute we've seen people running out of gas in the last lap. But
yeah, certainly a not a new occurrence in NASCAR, but at least with this new car, I can't remember any time where this has come up, at least so far towards the front anyway.
I know they mentioned that this new car doesn't have the same fuel reserve that the old one did, so that's another issue as to why this is happening.
But is that a surprise to anybody? They know what they brought.
Yeah, you should know that, but I don't know. But yeah, Rob totally missed his boy Kyle Larson getting his third or fourth road course win.
Yeah, third win of the year. Third win of the year, that is.
Yeah, I mean, now that the waiver stuff is all gone, now it's just back to winning, and we'll see. We'll see if he can wrestle the title away from Denny, who Denny blew up on lap 2. A lot of people were happy about that. I wasn't, because I had him in my fantasy pool that day, so yeah. That was nice.
I did see that Cindric is back to his old ways. He was in multiple wrecks and had that crazy wreck where he almost started barrel rolling.
Yeah, he almost flipped it, didn't he?
Yeah, flew up in the air.
which was surprising because he's another decent road course racer. So I feel like that was part of him just being in the back and getting caught up in other people's stuff. But a weird day, but a decent race overall. And yeah, you guys didn't see it. So that's my recap.
I'll probably go back and watch it at some point this week. But yeah, I missed it. Sorry. Sorry, NASCAR. Also, I wasn't that sad being able to miss Fox's last broadcast of the year.
Yeah.
I heard that it was more of the same, which is a damn shame because, again, like all the folks they have in the booth and on pit road are really good, right? And to have the whoever's directing it kind of miss all this stuff just sucks. We've talked about this a bunch in this show. We don't need to revisit it again. But yeah, Fox is over and we're going over to NBC now. A Dale Jr.-less NBC. Remember that, which is also a bummer. But
it's true. Well, Fox will still have the trucks through the whole season. That's the one thing they'll have. But
I saw today that I guess Brad Doherty's going to be in the NBC booth in Dale Jr.'s place.
It's tough to replace Junior, but he's always been good in the booth, so I'm fine with that.
I did not see that. That's cool. Also today, the last episode of Race Hub aired, and appropriately enough, Trula was telling us, I asked her if she watched it, and she said, well, it was on in the background, which I think was pretty much exactly how most people viewed Race Hub in the first place. So.
Yeah.
Definitely crazy that show is gone. Especially halfway through the season. Usually you'd expect Fox to kind of carry the torch, and since they're probably going to be broadcasting they are broadcasting NASCAR next year, so it's just strange for them to fire a lot of their team. Apparently they've laid a lot of people off, and that show is gone. So I'm really curious to see what comes next from Fox as sort of supplementary coverage. But just that's a bummer to see. Again, I never really watched it all that much unless it just was on while I was doing laundry or something. But
if
it sucks to see NASCAR programming or racing programming in general get lost from the cable world.
I think if anything, I mean, the news stuff is whatever, but they did have a good. Their features were pretty good. Which you could always find those online, so I usually end up watching them that way. But they did a lot of really cool feature pieces. So to lose that, I mean, thankfully there's a really good amount of good YouTubers and historians that do a lot of stuff online. But to not have that professionally produced and released to the public TV show is going to be a bummer. But who knows? Maybe something else will come up in the next year.
I mean, Kevin Harvick's podcast is all over TV now, and I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot more content that's sort of directed at a more modern, cable-less world. Yeah. Perhaps that's what it is. But hopefully there is a replacement in some capacity, and a lot of these people that were doing good work there, particularly Jamie McMurray and all those folks, find some more work somewhere in the Fox sphere.
Yeah.
I'm also going to miss their radioactive that they do every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be crazy to not continue producing that.
Yeah.
That's like an intern with like a dubstep, like collection that a stock dubstep collection. That's all it is. That takes like 20 minutes to put together. So hopefully they keep doing that.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the other big thing in the NASCAR world is the continuing discussions about the charter agreement. Obviously we're still figuring out where the Stewart-Haas charters are going, and the discussions about the money between the broadcast stuff and what's going to NASCAR and what's going to the teams, that is still being heavily contested, and it seems like nobody's on the same page with that, and nobody's happy about it. So other than BJ McLeod, who cashed out and got
the fucking dog,
probably the most anyone will ever pay for a charter, $40 million. Again, if you don't love BJ and you don't think he's one of the smartest guys in racing, you're an idiot, because he's living life right now. So
so many pressed affliction T-shirts and Hinder Seeley's being purchased with that money. It's such a cool guy. I'm being serious. I love that guy.
We all do.
This is a BJ McLeod fan show for fucking sure. Mm-hmm. But what was the Stewart-Haas charter that who was it? Front Row picked up?
Front Row.
They like 25
didn't give
mil.
A specific number, but they said between 20 and 25,
which is not 40. So still a hefty chunk of change. Another topic of discussion about that was, I think Tony Stewart said it I don't know if it was in the press or whatever. This is all from this Jenna Fryer article on AP, which again, you can kind of take some of her stuff with a grain of salt. She's a little bit sensationalist with her reporting, but this was, seemed pretty factual. She mentioned that Tony Stewart was saying that and I think Dale Jr. as well had said this, that they were a little confused as to the land rush for these charters and wanting to spend that money right now when you don't even know if there's going to be a charter system in place pretty soon.
Yeah.
So what's the point of spending, 8 digits for something that is ultimately not going to be worth fucking anything pretty soon if they don't reach this agreement? So,
I mean, the best NASCAR's offered is a 7-year agreement, I guess, because that's as long as the TV deal is agreed upon. But it still seems iffy. I mean, you would think with the implication or the addition of charters to the sport, you'd want to make those permanent. I mean, people are investing all this money into teams. I totally get it from a team standpoint, and if you look at it, for those of us who've been fans since the 90s and you've watched the money kind of trickle out of the sport with sponsors and all that, and it would help the teams quite a bit to get that extra bit of the broadcast dollar, because you look at every other sport and a lot of them, it's all 40 to 50% splits between, the teams and, the ball fields and all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't understand why it can't be that way in NASCAR, especially when NASCAR's always been in the black and the teams are always in the red. So why you wouldn't want to make that more even is beyond me.
I'm going to assume it's just pure old greed, but I'm also a snarky motherfucker. So who knows? Maybe they have a reason. Maybe there's investments they want to make. I don't know. But I'm going to assume it just comes down to good old fashioned American greed right there.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, going back to the Augustine Canapino.
Oh, yeah, Augustine Canapino. Yeah, so last week we talked about how he got in a little bit of trouble on the internet on account of his fans. Half the country of Argentina was sending death threats to that poor French kid again, Pierre. Francesco. Is what we'll call him. By the way, Will Power broke his win streak, or his losing streak at Road America this weekend, so that did happen. That's worth mentioning. But yeah, Augustine was taken out of the car as a result of this. There's actually a really interesting Marshall Pruitt write-up about the whole situation, and the official reasoning, it did include the drama on the internet and the price that was placed on this young Frenchman's head by the Argentinian military, but really the main reason was that his headspace was not in a good place, and they didn't feel comfortable putting him in the car with how worked up he was. And so they put Nolan Siegel in the car, so he gets a little bit of redemption there after his bravery at Indy. Who knows how long he'll be in the car beyond this, and how long Augustine's staycation is going to be. But yeah, that's not good for young Augustine. So I wonder how many more. I wonder if we're going to war with Argentina pretty soon. I bet you Penske's got a private army. He could probably back up.
He probably does.
Ricardo Juncos and the boys. So we'll find out, and maybe that'll get deployed into NASCAR as well if things don't go well in the discussions in Daytona. But yeah, Augustine's out of a ride. Nolan Siegel gets a chance to show what's going on, and I'm sure he'll get wrecked by his teammate Romain Grosjean at some point this year, and we'll all laugh about it. So. That's IndyCar right there, folks. Oh, also, I'm pretty sure I read something about Colton Herta getting in a little bit of hot water for saying he wanted to shoot somebody in the head on the radio in the car.
Man,
I did see that.
I missed all kinds of things this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I learned about all of this after the fact. I didn't watch a second of IndyCar either, so.
I don't think many people did.
Yeah, that's simply how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people miss out on all this racing is because they're probably drinking. They drink a lot on the weekends, and NASCAR apparently has branded their own line of bourbon. I didn't see who made this, Brian. You sent this tweet over. Have you tried this? Have you seen this in stores?
I have not, but I found it on some online whiskey store. It's produced by someone called Citrus Distillers.
No.
Never heard of them. I'm not a whiskey or bourbon guy, so I will probably never drink this. But I'm
certainly
also
not for
gonna,
$50.
Yeah,
and it looks like they just printed off a NASCAR sticker off their computer at home and slapped it on a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet it's the same stuff I buy at Whole Foods for $20.
Yeah.
Probably.
I bet it's the same
You're,
shit.
you're paying for the logo here, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's where some of that charter money that they don't want to give up is going to go, is expanding their brand into fast casual restaurants and airports and then the bourbon business, which both are expensive to do. So, but yeah, if anyone out there has tried this, give us a ring. Let us know what you think.
Let us know.
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the news for the week. I don't really have anything else. I don't know if you guys do. I can't think of anything. I heard a rumor that there's a slim chance that Kyle Busch could go back to JGR, but I don't know how true that is. Especially since I saw he just bought into a Chevy dealership, so I don't know if that would be.
Apparently, the deal is that if it wasn't for the structuring of his RCR contract, and if Martin Truex decides to pound sand at the end of the year, which it seems like he's going to, or at least if I were Martin, I would probably I would be over it. But the problem is his contract is most likely going to disqualify him from that effort. So to leave a team that in a very what's a kind way to put this? Less than ideal, a very RCR style way to leave JGR to now be trapped at actual RCR and have the team you just left be doing so well. That's got to sting. But
well, I guess another thing that somewhat could factor into this is the whole Noah Gragson deal, because who knows where he's going. He has a relationship with Bass Pro. So does Truex, obviously, but I think also Austin Dillon does too, right? So I mean that sponsorship could probably fit with either team.
Yeah, Johnny Morris just kind of puts his money wherever the fuck he wants. So yeah. I don't think it's an either-or situation, but that rumor with Noah Gragson going to RCR does seem to have some legs behind it. And that
feels like a downgrade from. I mean, he's having a decent season.
Yeah, it's certainly a
RCR
sidestep, that's for sure.
Having a season at all.
No.
So,
it's not all their fault.
I guess you gotta just take what you can get, though.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of rides. There's a lot of unreliable rides coming up next year with SHR closing down. So I'd be happy to see it. I think he fits in over there, especially if you've seen Pop-Up's museum and Welcome, which I think we're going to talk about in a second here.
We will.
Yeah, I'd be stoked to see him get over there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I didn't do any racing stuff this weekend, but you two did, so the floor is yours.
True Love, you kick us off. How about it?
Is that what time it is?
It's time for story time.
Oh,
Meemaw's Shrimp Mountain True Love's storybook hour.
Shrimp wheels for everyone.
Shrimp wheels are spinning.
Rob, I know Rob had a shrimp wheel this weekend.
Oh yeah, I sat there and I watched the dream with a shrimp wheel, and it was man, that was living. Let me tell you what.
Well, me and my boyfriend Andy went to Charlotte for the weekend, and we crammed as many NASCAR things into a few days as humanly possible, and we really overdid it, and we're exhausted, but we crammed as much as possible in. So before we get to the racing, I'll kind of run through all the other shit that we did. So we went up there late Thursday, didn't do anything, went straight to the hotel. But Friday morning, we got up bright and early, and our very first stop of the entire trip was Joe Gibbs Racing, because it was right down the street from our hotel.
Nice.
So it is like 8 o'clock in the morning. We walk into the lobby, and we're the very first car when you walk in is like a Martin Truex car. We're just kind of looking at it because it's right there. We just walked in, and someone walks in the door behind us, and I kind of glance over, and I was like, "Oh, it's Joe Gibbs." What the fuck?
Did he give you like a Bible verse or a chick tract or something like that?
Well, it got real awkward because I'm like nudging Andy, like, "Hey, look who it is," and I'm like, oh, what should I do? I want to ask him for a picture, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And he walks, there's like a desk in the lobby, and there's a lady, the reception lady is sitting there. And he walks over to the desk, and he looks like he's fiddling with some papers or something. And the receptionist lady goes to me and Andy, she goes, hey, if you give me your names, Coach will sign some books for you. And in my mind, I'm thinking, how much is this going to cost me? What is this pyramid scheme that you're trying to get me into? And he's got books in his hand, and he's like signing away at them. And I think she had to ask us a couple times because my brain was not computing, like, what? I don't want to buy this book. Please don't charge me for this. But that was my only concern, was how much is this fucking book gonna cost me?
For all you non-readers out there, books are fucking expensive now. So
yeah. Especially a signed one from Coach Gibbs. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, this is gonna send me $75 back or something.
Hey, I will say I bought Kyle Petty's book at the Petty shop. It was signed by both Kyle and Richard. It was only $25, so that was a bargain.
that's a deal. That's a great deal.
Well, I suddenly remembered what my name is and managed to get it out. And he he wrote it down, but he was being awkward too. Like he was looking down at the book and signing, and he like would glance up at us for a second, but it was like he didn't want to really make eye contact. He didn't really want to engage. He said a few words. I don't know. It was real awkward.
He's probably waiting for the desk lady to charge y'all.
Yeah, well, that's what I was too. And he did his little scribbles and just kind of wandered away. And the lady's sitting there with these books in front of her, and we just kind of walk up to the desk like, okay, are we supposed to take these? Is she going to ask for payment? And we just kind of grabbed them and slowly backed away.
So you stole a couple books from Joe Gibbs Racing to kick the morning off?
I guess. Well, later I got to thinking about it and like looking through the book, and it was made in like 2009. And then it had like an edition added on in 2021 after JD passed away. So I think what the deal is he ordered way too many of these back in 2009, and they just can't get rid of them anymore.
Yeah.
So I think they just keep it stacked at the desk, and if he walks in and fans are there, he signs them and they just hand them out. But yeah, the book,
that's a cool deal.
It is. I'll never read that fucking book, but
No.
just, to prop it up on a shelf somewhere.
That's that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
But just glancing through it, I could tell it's very, very Bible religious based. So
Yeah, well, there's no surprise there, I guess. So I've never been to the Joe Gibbs shop. I've heard it's pretty cool, though. What were your thoughts on it?
it's nice. This is my second time there. I mean, they've got a few cars out in the lobby. They've got one of Denny's Daytona 500 winning cars, a Truex car, and a Bobby Labonte car, and a bunch of trophies. And then they have a giant window in the back where you can overlook the entire shop. So
That's cool.
it's a pretty good layout. And the gift shop is fucking huge. I didn't buy anything, but
Yeah.
it's massive.
Just a couple of books.
Yeah. I saw a stack for sale on there, but I didn't look at the price. I was like,
Yeah, best not to ruffle those feathers after you picked them up.
yeah. So yeah, after we stole those books from Joe Gibbs, we went down the street to see the new 2311 shop.
Ooh.
Yeah, that place is so nice, and it smells brand new too. Like it just smells like a brand new building,
Yeah.
like fresh paint. But yeah, super nice. They have Bubba's very first win car from Talladega in the lobby, and then they have Reddick's Jordan car that he won with at Talladega in the lobby.
Was that the same one we saw at the Hall of Fame that one time?
Yes, it is. Cool. Yeah. So, it was nice. The people at the front desk were super nice, very helpful, but you could tell they're kind of still working on some stuff, and like, you can go upstairs and you can see that. I don't know if y'all seen it online, but it's a wall display in the shape of 23, and it's full of like Jordan shoes.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's Denny's collection, maybe.
Yeah. So you can see that upstairs, and then you can like overlook the shop, but there wasn't one single car on the shop floor. They said that they're all, they were gone to Sonoma.
Yeah.
I guess they weren't working on their Iowa cars yet or something, but it was empty. So that was kind of a bummer. But for me, I really was hoping that they would have a gift shop because I wanted to buy some stuff, but they don't have a gift shop.
Yeah,
that's very stupid.
That's how Trackhouse was when they first moved into Chip Ganassi's place. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's coming later, but the only thing they had was a hat and a shirt, and the guy said, in order to buy these, you have to scan this QR code and buy it online, and then show me the receipt, and I'll hand you the hat shirt. I was like, okay. And they were kind of lame, so I didn't get them.
It's like, Joe Gibbs just gave me a free book. That would have worked on that customer service there, bud.
Yeah, but that shop is so nice. The design of it it's really well done. So, after that, we went to Junior Motorsports.
Nice.
Because on Fridays there they do free tours. So.
Oh, cool.
It's only on Fridays. I think they do like 4 a day, but you just go online, sign up. I think it's like a maximum 20 people per tour, but I've never done the free tour before, so that was neat. They take you into the podcast room. You can take pictures in there, and then they take you through the entire shop. They give you a very thorough, informative tour of everything in the shop. But no pictures allowed of that. And then at the very end, you get to see Dale Jr.'s Nova of his dad's that he had restored that me and Brian saw him do laps in at Darlington a few years ago.
Oh, shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you can take pictures of that. The tour guide was great. He was very informative. So if you're ever in Mooresville on a Friday, it's worth the free tour.
That's sweet. I've never been to Junior Motorsports either.
No. I mean, if you don't do the tour, it's basically just the gift shop.
Yeah. It's not that big of a building, right?
No, it's pretty small. After that, we swung by the Days of Thunder barn.
What time is it in the day, out of curiosity?
The tour?
No, I mean, just like in general on your timeline here. Because you've already hit 3 race shops, so...
Yeah, well... We signed up for the 11 a.m. Junior Motorsports Tour.
I
so
see.
we got there at 11 a.m. Joe Gibbs opens at 8, 2311 opened at 9. So we were just kind of meandering around. After Days of Thunder, we got some lunch at this place called Pie in the Sky in Mooresville. It's Dale Jr.'s favorite restaurant. So if you ever want a slice of pizza,
that's the place to go.
That's the place to go.
Nice.
Then after that, we went to Penske. My buddy Justin, I think he listens to the show. I'm not sure, but he works there on the IndyCar side of things.
Oh, cool.
He's also a sprint car guy, so maybe Robbie might have talked to him before.
Oh, yeah, I've chatted with him before on the internet, yeah.
Yeah. So he came out and talked to us a little bit, but I mean, I've been there a few times before. I think you guys have probably been there too. It's
a cool shop. It's probably my favorite, aside from Hendrick, I think.
Yeah.
Just because of the big balcony that's over the top of the actual shop.
Yeah, the access that they give. Yeah, it's great.
And they got a lot of crazy stuff lined up out there. I think for Darlington and the All-Star race, they rolled a bunch of old school Penske shit out there to look at. I don't know. Was that still there?
They had 2 old Rusty Wallace cars sitting out there, and Blaney's Coke 600 win from last year, and some Logano car that I didn't care about.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we went to the Hendrick Museum to get that in before they closed at 5. So
yeah.
I've been to Hendrick a few times, but I haven't been since they kind of redid it or rearranged some things. So.
Yeah.
I saw Chase's championship car, so that was cool for me. I haven't seen that in person yet. They have a Garage 56 car in there, which I was excited about going in, but then once I got there, I realized it was just a testing car. It wasn't the actual one, so that's a bummer. They also have Larson's front clip off the car from Kansas, so that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Did
you buy a big foam hat?
Well, I was just about to say they had lots of those for sale in there. Yeah. I didn't realize that the official title of those is called Noggin Boss, which makes me hate it even more.
Even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just those when you thought it couldn't get any more gross.
Yeah. Those things are $110. They had a Tim Richmond Folgers one.
Oh no!
Fuck you.
And a 40th anniversary one. Yeah.
Just imagine Tim Richmond wearing one of those. Come on.
Yeah, it's quite the slap to his legacy there. And they also had I had forgotten all about this partnership or whatever that Larson has with the ramen restaurant.
Yeah. They can't sell those shirts.
They had a shirt there, and it's him hanging out of his window eating a bowl of ramen. It said "crazy about ramen" on it.
They can't get rid of those. Cannot get rid of those fucking things.
Yeah.
So you bought that, right?
No.
Immediately put it on with your big noggin
with my
buster.
Big Tim Richmond hat. Oh, God. And then after that, for dinner, we went to this place called Big Daddy's Oyster Bar, which from the outside looks like it would be just a trash hole. And I guess maybe it is. But from the outside, it's got like race cars on the roof.
Yep.
It's got like a Dale Senior car and a Dale Junior, like Batman Mountain Dew car, a Kyle Busch truck, and one of Brad Keselowski's next gen cars. And it's called Big Daddy's.
Yeah, that's right. That's pretty close to the racetrack, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
It's in Mooresville. It's near Lake Norman.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It's right where Rob Moroso had his fatal car accident. Actually.
Oh. Did you visit that site?
Well, it's just the same road. It's right there.
On his way to
have a deal where it happened.
Yeah, but I guess it's like the place where all the drivers have always gone for decades and decades and decades. But it's also pretty fucking expensive.
Yeah. Market price, right? Yeah. How many shrimp did you eat there?
I got some shrimp.
A lot. Kind of blacked out.
I had my fair share of shrimp.
That's good.
Don't you worry. See, that was the first day.
Jesus Christ, dude.
On Saturday, we went to the RCR museum first thing. I don't really have much to say about that because I feel like we've all talked about that on here before. Yeah. I mean, Andy had never been, so it was nice to be able to take him. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it is always worth a visit.
Yeah.
Always worth a visit.
It was empty in there, too, so that was nice to really just take our time. But,
any new additions to the taxidermy room in there?
We breezed through that room so fucking fast.
They got a life-size stuffed Kyle Larson in there.
Yeah, I didn't see any fresh kills that I know of.
No targets with Ricky Stenhouse's face on them.
No.
We don't dial 911.
No. I just didn't catch any of those. So yeah, after we finished at RCR, we were just kind of killing time before the Bowman Gray race in Winston. And so I hit up Matthew Dillner on Rob's recommendation, and he was so fucking helpful. Like, told me where to eat before, where to sit at the track, what to eat at the track. Like, unfortunately, he wasn't in town. I guess he was at the High Limit race in Missouri.
Yeah.
Which was a bummer, but he was very helpful, so thanks to him. But he told us to go eat at this place called J.D. Pulliam's Hot Dogs and Barbecue, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's been there since 1910. If you were just like driving by and didn't know about this place, it is just like a rundown looking dilapidated building. There's not much signage outside, only a couple cars out there. It's a place you drive by and wouldn't think twice about. But these were, sorry Martinsville, but these were the best hot dogs I have ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is there something special about them?
I don't know.
Is it like a slaw like Martinsville has, or did you just go for classic?
Their slaw was the best hot dog slaw that I've ever had. They do like a nice toasted bun too, and they do have the pink weenies. So it's just a winning combination. And with a glass bottle of Sundrop, it was a great combination.
Now you're speaking my
But you
language.
go inside and like it's just a super tiny room. There's a bunch of older gentlemen working behind the counter. There's old NASCAR posters all over the ceiling that are kind of peeling and faded. And if you look on the back wall, there's all these old photographs from the early days of Bowman Gray. And Matthew told us to talk to the guy, Mark, behind the counter. He owns the place. And so he was super nice, like talked about racing for a while. He asked where we were from and who my driver was. So
What'd you tell him? You tell him Burt Myers? That's a loaded question around Bowman Gray.
No, we talked about the Elliots, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they used to come in here and eat hot dogs with me." He said back when Chase was running K&N at Bowman Gray, he'd come in here and eat hot dogs with me. So
that's great.
Yeah, that place was amazing. Those people were wonderful. The hot dogs were great, but there's nowhere to like sit inside to eat, so you have to go outside to eat. So we were just kind of sitting on the tailgate of Andy's truck eating, and this older gentleman comes out of the place, and he was so adorable. He was cute as could be. He had like adorable style, and he had this giant Cadillac belt buckle. And we talked to him for a second, and he told us that he had driven 40 miles to get those hot dogs. He loves them so much. So he drove there, got his hot dogs, and him and his wife just sat in their Cadillac and ate them together. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see here. After the hot dogs, I guess we went to Bowman Gray. So first time to Bowman Gray.
I'm so excited to hear about this.
Man, that place, it's incredible. It is everything that I hoped and dreamed. Like, there weren't any fights this weekend, but the racing was incredible. Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, full attention. Like, man, it made me wish so bad that Lanier Raceway here could come back and be in its glory. Yeah. Like, I would kill for just one asphalt track in Georgia.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that night they had street stock modifieds, which that was my first modified race, so that was cool.
No shit. It was a twin 50 lapper, wasn't it? Something like that?
Yeah. Stadium stocks, and they had a chain race at the end. But the first race, I think I texted y'all that there was just a shit ton of cautions. 15 laps in, like half the field was destroyed.
I believe your quote was, "This is the longest race I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah, 15 laps in, it was a lot. That guy that's kind of been making his rounds on social media, that Zach Staley guy with the beard and the cigarette.
Yeah.
He was in that race, and I couldn't remember what number he was, but there was a number 7 in that race who was just an absolute menace. He was wrecking people left and right, and it wasn't until after the race that I figured out that that's who that was. So, I'm trying to piece together my night, look through my notes. All the track safety workers, I have determined, all have a death wish. They have no regard for their own personal safety. They were a show to watch in themselves. The choose cone guy, he was fun to watch too, since it's just a live guy running out there with that cone.
That might be the most dangerous job in the house right there.
Yeah. Victory lane at that place also is interesting. As soon as the race ends, they park it for every race, not just the big one at the end of the night. They park it at the start-finish line, open up the gates where I guess anyone that wants to can run out there. They bring out the stage on the tiniest truck. The Victory Lane stage is like the size of a porta-john. It's a little chaotic. Well, they're also lining up the next race behind them. I don't know. Then they had a modified race. That was, just badass to see. There wasn't anything too crazy that happened in that first one. I guess Lee Jeffries won. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay.
The big race of the night was the sportsman race. I don't know the names of anyone really. I could they're good at showing a screen that has drivers and names, but when you're watching the race, it's hard to keep looking up at the screen to.
Yeah, especially on a quarter-mile racetrack. I know how that goes.
Yeah, but with this race, I know at one point, halfway through, maybe the second place guy dumped the leader. Towards the end of the race, though, Amber Lynn was there, who I had heard that name a bunch in a lot of the Bowman grade drama videos in the past. But boy, they showed her picture on the screen, and she looks like an Amber Lynn.
Yeah.
I could say that much, but the crowd loved her. When she was up to second, the crowd was losing their minds. Cheers all around that place was just lit up for that lady. So.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at her right now here.
Yeah.
Her mugshot and yeah.
Yeah. So there was it was a kind of a mixed bag. I didn't hear any boos, but I definitely saw plenty of birds being flipped her way. But the cheers far outnumbered anything. Yeah. That place loves her. But at the end of the race, it's just maybe 2 laps to go. I think there was the number 19's leading. The very last car spins and puts oil all over the track, and the leader comes through and gets into the oil, and they spin and hit the wall, and it knocks off their rear bumper, and it's just hanging. And Amber Lynn's in second. So while they're trying to clean up this mess, that leader is just going around. He's trying so hard to get that rear bumper off. He's going back and forth. He is doing everything that he can to try to get that bumper off so that he doesn't get black flagged. And at one point, the guy who had wrecked and brought out the caution is still standing in the infield. He runs out onto the track and starts trying to rip the bumper off for the guy. It didn't work. At one point, he starts backing up to try to run over it backwards to rip it off, and that ripped half of it off, but still didn't get it off. So eventually, they black flagged him, and I noticed that the whole crowd just started waving goodbye to him. Maybe he's not very liked there, but so then Amber Lynn's leading on the restart, and she won in overtime, and that place lost its mind. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, they had stadium stock, and I don't even know how to explain that. I don't know the rules on who can run that, but it was quite the clusterfuck of, I guess, bring whatever you want. There was a old 70s Pinto. There was a car that had neon green lights under it with the monster paint scheme. There was a Davey Allison tribute paint scheme. It was just a clusterfuck.
Aren't they they're not Allison legacy cars, are they? The little smaller scale guys?
Most of them were tiny, but the car that won it looked nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not doing a great job of explaining this, but I'll have to share some videos or something because it was like, what the fuck's going on? And then after that was the chain race, which was, wow. So if anyone listening doesn't know what a chain race is, it's two cars chained together. The lead car has an engine and no brakes, and the car in the back on the chain has no engine but has the brakes. So I think it was like 10 laps, and there's no caution flag. So if a car wrecks, they just stay on the track, and they're just basically an obstacle at that point.
Yeah.
So eventually there was a pile up in turn 3, and then the rest of the cars just kept piling into the back of them. So you're just basically sitting there waiting to get run into.
Yeah.
And the cars that weren't involved had to start like cutting through the grass to try to avoid it.
It's like an ARCA race.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the race ended. The winners are parked on the start-finish line, and 2 of the teams didn't know that the race was ended, and they ran like 2 more full laps. So it was great. But yeah, that place, it was perfect. It was a beautiful night. There was like a beautiful sunset. My friends that I went with said that it wasn't like a great crowd, but it looked pretty packed to me. But
yeah,
man, that place, if I lived in that area, there's no doubt that I would be there every single Saturday night.
Yeah. Agreed. I've never even gone, and I can tell you that would be the case. Yeah, there's something about a place that can pack that many people in consistently week in and week out for a short track show, and they've really got it going on at Bowman Gray, and hopefully the All-Star race goes there. I really want to see that happen.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I mean, everywhere we went in Winston-Salem that day, like me and Andy both had on like, vintage NASCAR stuff, and everyone we met without even saying that's where we were going, we're like, oh, are y'all going to the races tonight? You look like you're going to the races tonight. Like that whole town, like everywhere you went, people were, oh, I'm just waiting to get off work. I'm headed to the races tonight. So
yeah, that's awesome.
It was great. Dillner told me, I asked him if there was like a concession food that I needed to try there, and he said, find the little donut stand. And oh my God, it's little donuts. They make them fresh you can watch them make them, but they're just tiny. It tasted kind of like funnel cake to me, but just like hot, tiny donuts, fried, slathered in cinnamon and sugar. I don't know how many I ate, but you can either buy them by the dozen or you can buy a bucket of them. I didn't get a bucket,
How many's
but I
in a
got
bucket?
a couple dozen. I could have ate a bucket.
Yeah.
Bucket of donuts.
Yeah, those things were so fucking good.
That's
and
awesome.
he also said to make sure you buy a race program, but by the time I remembered that, they were already sold out. So I'm bummed I didn't get one of those, but yeah.
Well, sounds like
y'all gotta go.
Sounds like you got a family field trip. We got a plan here because I'd love to see that with you guys. I've never gone, so that's on my definitely pretty high on my bucket list.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
When did you head back down south? Were you in Charlotte for more? Did you do anything else while you were there, or is it just?
We came back last night. So Sunday we were pretty tired. We went to like an antique mall in Kannapolis. Sam Bass's son, what's his name, Brian? Mark.
Yeah.
Mark has a booth at one of the antique malls there, so went and bought some shirts from him. And then that's right next to the Dale statue, so walked over there. Went to the cemetery where Ralph Earnhardt and Mama are buried. Drove by the old Earnhardt house with the garage in the back. And then that was it for Sunday.
Cool.
And then yesterday, what's today? Who knows?
Tuesday.
Yeah, that was we were gonna originally go to the Petty Museum, but it was too far.
Yeah.
We were too tired, so we went to the Curb Records Museum in Kannapolis.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to go to that place for years, and they always have weird hours.
It's always lunch break there anytime I've tried to go.
Yes, they love a lunch break. Love a lunch break there. So That place was cool. I mean, it's free. I didn't even know it was free, but we walked in. He's like, free. I guess because it's attached to the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's like a state deal, but it was cool. I mean, a little podunk, but, there was lots of Indy cars in there.
Yeah.
Dan Weldon's 500 car.
A lot of Mike Curb related shit in there.
Mm-hmm. Lots of, country music on hoods.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the museum, or the music part of it was super podunk.
Yeah, just a bunch of printed out papers and
basically. Yeah. But it was worth it. Well, I mean, it was free, so of course it was worth it, but
yeah.
It was neat walking through there. Then we went by Stuart Haas to say goodbye to it one last time.
You got any cheap Cole Custer t-shirts in there?
They had a pretty solid clearance rack. Real cheap, too, but I was good and didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
Went to Trackhouse. I haven't been there since it switched to Trackhouse.
Yeah.
So...
It's been disappointing. Every time I've gone there. Except for the fact that they...
now.
Oh, they do. Yeah, okay.
Not much, but they've got a little corner dedicated to merch now.
They still got the Harry Gant car in there? The Mr. September car?
They do, yeah. They still have it. They had it and a Ross Chastain car. There's some very, very old man looking at that car for a while, and he had both of his hands inside the window fiddling with something. He was trying to be inconspicuous, but I don't know what he was doing.
But you caught him, so.
Yeah. The Martinsville car is still there, too, but where they've got it parked is real shitty, and you can't really see it that well, so.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. But, so, as soon as we got to Trackhouse, we parked. We got out of Andy's truck. We turned to walk in the building. We're the only human beings standing in the parking lot. And I glanced up because there's a man coming out of the building walking towards their car, and it was Ross Chastain.
No shit.
Oh, come on. Get out of here.
Well, in my mind, I was like nudging Andy. I was like, hey, look who it is. And you could tell that Ross was doing... It was so awkward. He was going above and beyond to make sure that he did not make eye contact with us. He was like staring at the ground and to the left, like motherfucker, we see you, like a head nod or a hello. Like it was like painfully awkward how hard he was trying to avoid any human contact.
That sounds like the Ross Chastain experience.
Yeah, I was like, they don't have like a back entrance where you just came out the gift shop. Like if you don't want to. If you want to avoid fans, maybe coming out the main entrance in the gift shop is not.
I guess Joe Gibbs went in through the gift shop in the morning. So.
Yeah. So
the one time I met him, he was kind of awkward. So I get that.
Yeah. And then we went to RFK and then came home.
Yeah. That's a cool museum too.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So yeah, that was it. That was a lot. Sorry, y'all.
That is a lot of stuff to cram into 3 days.
Yeah.
You didn't even go to the Thirsty Beaver.
Spread out there than you think. No, we didn't make it a Thirsty Beaver. I thought about it on Sunday, but it was too tired.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment of going to that place after a weekend like that.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
But yes, Bowman Gray, 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
Would do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll do it. Absolutely will do it
We'll
again.
go.
I wish their season was longer, but, football.
Yeah, kind of is what it is.
Oh, I forgot to mention, as far as people watching and the crowd goes, it wasn't as crazy as I expected. Maybe I was sitting in the wrong section. We sat down in turn 1, which was a great seat. You could see him coming straight at you down the front stretch.
Yeah.
But, so... There's no catch fence at that place except for in turns 1 and 2. And it's temporary because they got to take it out for football.
Right.
So it's a pretty janky fence. And at the very bottom of the fence, you could tell there's places where it's like torn up and there's holes in it.
Yep.
And there were like small children sticking their head through the holes in the fence way far out.
Nice.
And there was also another family that I noticed. It was this man came wandering down the stairs, toting a newborn baby in a car seat, and he had 3 other little boys with him who were all under the age of 4. And he sat the newborn baby down on the bleachers, left 2 of the little boys there, and just left. He went back up the stairs and just left them to their own devices. And then I see him a few minutes later. He comes back and he's carrying another child in a stroller with his wife, who was wearing a very questionably short dress for having just given birth. But yeah. And every time I saw that family, they were like, it was like a 3-year-old child carrying multiple cups of soda that were like overflowing, or like a melted snow cone that was like on the edge of toppling over. I was more stressed out about these children than their parents were. And no ear protection whatsoever.
Oh, no.
Which was a bummer.
That is a bummer.
It was definitely loud there. But
oh, man.
that was my people watching report.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'm so stoked you got to go there, and it's a bummer you didn't get to link up with Matt, but
yeah, maybe next time. He was very helpful from far away.
Well, speaking of your Bowman Gray experience, I texted Matt on Thursday morning to let him know you were going to Bowman Gray, and to link up, and I said, hey, my friend might reach out to you. She's looking for tips for Bowman Gray if you're going to be around, blah, 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 you know. And he completely ignored my text and responded with, hey, man, are you going to Stafford this weekend? Which I hadn't planned on it because I've done a lot of racing stuff recently. You know, I haven't seen my wife in a little bit because she was out of town on vacation with her best friend in Amsterdam. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. You know, I was like, why? And he's like, hey, I need someone to follow Carson Lofton around for his Northeast Modified debut at Stafford. Could you take some film for me? And it's like, well, I guess I'm going now, yeah. So I found like whatever meager gear. I have like a gimbal that I borrowed from a bandmate, you know, and this sort of stuff, and got my like amateur collection of iPhone film gear, and headed on down to Stafford on Friday morning. Got there about 11 o'clock, met up with Candace Lofton, very, very sweet lady, and met Carson and the whole gang. Watched him take some of his first laps at Stafford. That was pretty cool. Woody Pitcat, which is a legend up here, he was also out there testing. There was a street stock or something like that out there testing too, but it was a private test session in the morning. Kind of got to know the team, hung out with them, and then just basically spent the entire day with Carson Lofton. So if anyone listening to this doesn't know who that is, he's the current Smart points leader. It's a Southern Modified Tour, and he's also won 5 out of 7 races this year, and he's only 16 years old, so he is definitely showing people that he is very good at driving a modified, and I can tell you he definitely is very good. Definitely wise beyond his years behind the wheel of a race car. Very clean driver, very smart, but we'll get into that in a little bit here. Anyway, just kind of followed them around all day, ran around the racetrack. I've never covered a race before in any sort of capacity at all, so it was a little nerve-wracking at first. It was like, what the fuck am I even doing here, you know? But they made it real comfortable for me. Carson's a great kid, super personable, real funny. And the whole family is just so nice to be around. Brian Lofton, the whole team. Brian, of course, he raced at Bowman Gray a bunch, and he's raced out in the South and modifieds a ton for years, so he's a known quantity as well. Like I said, Woody Pitcat was there kind of helping him out. Apparently, he insisted that they park next to him, which was kind of a cool move because Woody's won just about every race you can imagine at Stafford and a bunch of NASCAR modified tour races. He's one of the best that has ever done it at Stafford, as far as I'm concerned. And he kind of took Carson under his wing for the whole day. He was giving him advice, setup advice, and all that. And he's just a funny guy to be around. He didn't want anything to do with me by any means, but but he was awesome to be around, and also very fast. And if there's any guy you want to be kind of paying attention to at Stafford, it's probably Woody Pitcat. I felt bad for them. They were real fast in practice, you know, to go out there. Again, this is an open modified show. It's not NASCAR sanctioned or anything like that. But it is drawing a lot of the big names. So Austin Beers is out there, Woody Pitkat, Ronnie Williams. I forget who else was there, but a lot of big timers up here in New England were hanging out. And he was top, I think he was third in practice one, and then went out and was a little more conservative in the second practice. I think he was in the top 10 still. So definitely first time out in traffic, did a good job. Broke his shifter on like the third lap of his heat.
Oh, no.
And they had to change the entire transmission and drive light out. That was a bummer. And then it rained, which ended up being kind of an okay thing because it gave him a little bit more time to get things fixed. But Stafford has a good habit of moving the big features up in the night to make sure they get in at a reasonable hour, which they did for this one. But unfortunately, in this case, they brought him out down to pit road. And again, I was with the team. I went down to the infield with them to, you know, film pit stops and just kind of be with everybody in the heat of battle. And within 5 laps, it opened up. The sky opened up in a way that I have never experienced. I don't think I've ever been wetter in my life. And we all kind of like, I was smart enough to bring a rain jacket with me just so I had something that was waterproof so I could put my phone and some of the other gear that would get destroyed by water like in pockets.
Did you have your Crocs?
No, I didn't. I was in because you can't have any sort of open-toed shoes or like shorts or anything like that down the pit.
Crocs technically aren't open-toed.
Well, ask the tech man about that. But boy, it rained like fucking crazy, and yeah, we kind of like climbed under the cover of the pit box for a second, and I kind of peeked out and realized that we were the only ones still left out there. So we had to push this heavy-ass pit box up the banking at Stafford, you know, basically across the River Jordan. Never been so wet in my life. And again, the shittiest part about it was the fact they drove all that way, and I think Carson turned like 15, 20 laps in total, including practice, heats, everything. So that was a bummer. And
he drove more than Denny did.
He certainly did. And I think a lot of people were really excited. I know a lot of people were really excited to watch him race up at Stafford because, again, he's tearing it up down south, and not to rag on the Southern Tour at all, but the Northeast is known to be where you want to go to prove yourself in a modified. And so I think a lot of people were really excited to see what he could bring to some of the locals up here. And he definitely made a little bit of a statement, but I think people were really excited to see him come all the way from the back in the feature, and he didn't really get that chance. There was a big wreck, and he got about, I don't know, 5 or 6 positions off that after passing 2 on his own, so we kind of gave him the unofficial Hard Charger Award of the night. Race got rescheduled to this Friday. I don't know if they're coming back up. If they do, I'll be back out there on Friday night to finish the job and hang out with them, and I hope they do come back up because, again, some of the sweetest people. It's funny, you know, I live in New England, and I don't really know a lot of people in modified racing, but when it comes to Southern racing, you know, dirt late models, that sort of thing, that's where my friends are. So I thought it was pretty funny that my first real entrance into actually being in the garage area with a purpose was with a bunch of North Carolinians. It's only appropriate for me, I guess. But yeah, thanks to Matt Dillner for thinking of me and hooking that up. That was a fucking awesome experience. I can see why people want to do that for a living. It's just so cool to be embedded in there and being a part of the show, and even just such a small way. And hopefully they do come back up this Friday, and I get to go out and do it a little bit more. And, you know, at any rate, I still got a wristband. I might go back anyway and just watch the race because any race at Stafford is a good one. But, shout out to the Loftons. Hopefully we see him up here a lot more. After the race, I asked Carson. I had to interview him, too, which turns out I'm really bad at that. But you don't know until you try, and I tried, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I asked him, I was like, so what do you think, Monadnock tomorrow night? Because they were running up in Monadnock. There's a big open modified show there. And he's just like, nah, we're not going to do that. And then 5 minutes later, I hear him talking to Brian Lofton, and he's like, we should go to Monadnock tomorrow night. To which he says, we might as well just go to Bowman Gray if we're going to do that shit. Just to tie it all together. But yeah, great people, super talented kid. You're going to see and hear a lot more about Carson coming up. Again, it's an expensive sport to be a part of. and I'm hoping that he doesn't miss out on some bigger opportunities because of money, because this kid's the fucking real deal. There's no question about it. But yeah, after saying I wasn't going to do any racing stuff, I probably did the most racing stuff imaginable this weekend, and I'm probably going to do more this Friday, hopefully. So
Nice.
But in case you guys didn't realize this, we're already, you notice the temperature's gotten kind of hot. You know, it's humid in here. We're in the septic tank, folks. We've been in it for a while. We're wading around in the sludge now. But there was a lot of racing this weekend as well. I was talking about how much of the Dream I was going to watch. I only got to watch Saturday because I was so busy the other two nights.
I actually watched Friday. Look at that.
You watched a lot more of the Dream than I did. Ricky Thornton Jr. getting a big win on Thursday. He doesn't really do all that well at Eldora, so that was pretty cool to see. Again, the way they were setting the heats up this year was a little different than normal. Usually everybody runs all 3 nights, but this year they split all the cars into 2 groups. The first group ran on Thursday night. Of course, that was won by Ricky Thornton Jr. Devin Moran got the Friday night show, and they give out points for pretty much anything. Like pretty much whoever takes the quickest piss, even at the urinal, gets a couple points and added into the total. So it's kind of a convoluted system. The drivers didn't seem to like it as much, and some fans didn't either. But I don't know. For me at home, it was fine.
When you say points, like what series is that for?
It's just for Eldora. So the positioning for features and heats and all that comes out of the amount of points that you gather through the whole weekend.
Okay, so that's how Saturday was determined then, I guess?
That's how all the lineups for Saturday were determined, in like placement and heats and all that sort of thing was by points.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is why certain guys were on pole that you wouldn't expect. I think Josh Rice, he had a good weekend on points, and he ended up rolling off at the front in his heat. But then a couple other drivers who seemed to be faster than him didn't start as high up in their heats as a result of not getting as many points as Josh. So it's a little convoluted and confusing, especially if you're just kind of tuning in. There's a lot of backstory behind it, but they've always done that there. It's just they split it into 2 different nights where not everybody was on track together. But yeah, Devin Moran got a big win too. So of course, 2 cursed guys picking up wins on prelim nights. The big show was pretty exciting. The heats anyway. The feature was pretty mellow. It actually mimicked last year's Dream, almost to a T, right down to the winner. Jonathan Davenport just whooped their asses this year. Completely whooped their asses.
We got to talk about Bloomer though.
Yeah, I think the big thing everyone's talking about for this weekend is the giant wreck that Scott Bloomquist got into. He almost hit the gate when he flipped. Shannon Babb did his best to kill Scott Bloomquist this weekend. And in fact, my dart for the week is anyone who's trying to put blame on Scott for that accident, because that was 100% on Shannon Babb coming down and hooking him. I don't think it was intentional. I think he just misjudged the nose, but still, that was pretty ugly.
It seemed like he got into he got not past the cushion, but almost into the cushion and came down a little bit.
Yeah, he was fading down to try and I think either block or just establish the line he wanted for turn 1, and just completely it was real bad.
Thankfully Scott seemed to be okay, but I think what the big conversation was his interview afterwards, where he talked about how he liquidated everything, and he wasn't driving his own car and had no money, and still said he's going to come back for the 100. So let's hope that happens, because I would like to get down there for that, hopefully. But
I'd like to see him race at least one more time. But that was the thing. Like, I think a lot of people saw that accident, and I know everyone was concerned for his health and very relieved for him to get out of the car, but he's had a rough go past couple years. He had cancer, shoulder surgery. Like, he's held together by duct tape and rubber bands and rebar and shit. So like he's a not a frail man by any means, but he's got some wounds he's carrying around with him right now, and I think. And, he's, like you said, he's liquidated his team. He sold a lot of stuff. He's definitely on the back half of his career. When you see something like that happen, I think everyone was kind of thinking, oh, God, is this the last time we're going to see Scott Bloomquist in a race car? I was one of those people for sure. And to hear him say that was was cool. So hopefully we all get one more chance or a few more chances to see Scott race because he's just the fucking man.
I mean, he seemed confident, even though, granted, he started on the pole in that heat and kind of went backwards almost immediately. But he did seem like he was fighting back for third. He might have, who knows if he would have got the transfer spot to the main. But either way, it was a bummer. But yeah, hopefully we'll see him back in a car sometime later this year. But what else happened in the septic tank?
Oh, God, there was so much that happened this weekend. One thing I do want to mention before we get into more race results, that kind of shit, is that DraftKings, the sports book, has now added USAC racing and NHRA into the playbook. So you can bet on USAC racing, and a friend of the program, Kyle Armstrong, won him a pretty penny off of betting on Emerson Axum. So just so you guys know, the odds makers really don't know what they're doing yet. You can make money betting on USAC on DraftKings. So just putting that out there in the world, that's what I'll be going for. Speaking of Devin Moran, he won a big race at Kokomo XR Series. Scott Bloomquist, speaking to him, he's heavily involved in that. Another alternative dirt late model production. Devin Moran got a big win at Kokomo. That's pretty cool. Over in the sprint car world, Corey Day and Rico Abreu both got wins at I-70. Corey Day, apparently that race wasn't very good. But the Rico's win was pretty exciting. World of Outlaws, Gio Selzy got one at River Cities. Sheldon got a big win as well this weekend. Sheldon Hodenshield finally starting to show some speed, as well as Gio. And yeah, there's a lot of racing coming up this weekend too. Are you going to Ohio Sprint Week at all, Bram?
No, I don't think so. Just because like all the races close to me either just happened or like I think Sharon's tomorrow, and I got to work, so I won't be able to make it. And yeah. Probably not making that to any, unfortunately.
I watched a little bit of the race last night. It was pretty cool. This year, of course, the All-Star Circuit of Champions is no longer. That's become high limit. So a lot of the names and stuff you would normally, like the bigger names, weren't necessarily there. But the fast tour promotion guys have come in and they put on a cool show. And a lot of local racers are out there and still putting on a good 410 show for everybody. High limit is at Eagle as we're recording this podcast, so you won't be able to see that. World of Outlaws going back to Knoxville. Lucas Oil is at Smoky Mountain. Always a great time watching the Lucas Oil 8 models down there at Smoky Mountain. On the pavement side of things, Money in the Bank at Berlin is this weekend, as well as Cars Tour is going to be at Dominion. Also, speaking of hanging out and talking to racing people this weekend, I learned just how expensive it is to get a fast Cars Tour ride, and holy fucking shit, you better bring your checkbook if you want to race in that series. Good Lord. So, yeah, that's the septic tank. I don't think we're missing anything here. I don't think we mentioned this last week. Butterbean Queen has got a few more rides in that Tricon truck. So that's pretty cool to see. Looking forward to that. Nashville is one of them, and a couple other bigger ovals. So be curious to see how he handles himself in that world, which I think he'll do just fine. But
before we get into the videos, though, we did have a couple questions that we didn't answer.
That's right. That was
last week.
That was the other thing for the septic tank here, because one of them is modified related.
The question is from Mike. Reggie Ruggiero, best Northeast modified tour racer never to win a championship.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's correct.
I don't think there's anyone else you can say.
Another question from him. Any word on Zinn as an official pod partner? Listen, I want a Zone sponsorship myself. I'm a Zone guy, but I'll take Zinn as well.
Yeah, I think until we either get sued by Applebee's or they fall off the face of the earth, I don't think we're getting an ounce of corporate sponsorship from anybody. But if anyone from the Zen Corporation in Richmond, Virginia is listening to this, we do use, and we'll use you.
Yep.
That's a bad sales pitch, but
I don't need that. If anyone wants to throw like a shrimp sponsorship,
meet me at the Bubba Gump Shrimp.
Yeah.
Then the final question. Now, granted, I'm assuming this is for Rob, but we all have nice, long, luscious hair. So, what do you use to treat your luscious locks?
Who asked this? Is this one of your friends, Rob?
That's my buddy Adam, who I'll be spending the weekend at Loudon with coming up. I guess I'll kick this one off since he was probably referring to my rat's nest. The answer is humidity. That's how I treat it. Humidity and lack of care. So, how about you, Trula?
I use the Jimmy Spencer hair model.
Oh yeah. You're running a Spencer up there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Glad to see that wig make it back onto Race Hub this week. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a nice farewell send-off.
How about you, Brian? Are you also a Spencer man, or are you a hair club guy? What's going on?
Listen, my hair is all natural. Somehow at 40, it's still going very strong. I just condition it. I don't ever shampoo it. I just condition it. That's it. That's my tip.
That's actually the real advice that I have as well. I just condition mine. But your hair is a lot nicer than mine, Brian.
I just put mine in Willie Nelson braids to avoid it feeling like a wool blanket in the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, it does suck. Boy, let me tell you, having long hair at Stafford when it was as humid as it was a punishment.
Yeah.
Now I see why everybody looks the same with short hair and shorts and all that shit. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, friend of the program and former guest Jay Pennell, he chimed in and asked, "Where's Jay?" That's a good question. I don't know.
Great question. I would love to know the answer to that.
Still trying to find him, but
yeah. If anyone has any leads.
But as always, we love talking to you guys and answering your questions. And, sometimes you give us some good content to discuss on here. So anything you got to say, please say it to us. We're an open book for the most part. Don't send any dick pics or anything because that's gross. But anything else is fair game. So thanks for all the questions. And I guess we'll move on to the video of the week.
Well, you gotta flush first.
Oh, I didn't flush the septic
tank. Leave it floating.
Yeah, before I flush, once again, thank you to Matthew Dillner for helping both Ashley and I out this weekend.
Absolutely.
If you're fortunate enough to know that guy, he really is, as advertised, just a sweetheart, super talented, super knowledgeable. He can tell you just about anything about most racetracks in this country and what's around them, what's good to eat, who to talk to, etc. And at the end of the day, he's just a good hang and a real good spirit. So thank you, Matt, for being a friend. And he actually listened to the show once. So if you are listening to this one and you've made it this far, congratulations. I don't know what's wrong with you, but we love you, bub. I think Brian quit. He's going to condition his hair right now. We have some good videos of the week coming up, though. They are Eldora related.
You still haven't flushed.
Oh!
You're still floating. Turds floating around in there.
You're doing a better job of mothering me than that family at Bowman Gray. Hold on, here it comes.
Okay.
Brian came back just in time.
Just in time to flush it. So, the videos of the week this week, we had two Eldora Prelude to the Dream related videos.
I love these.
So the first one was kind of a fan cam footage of Robbie Gordon's 2009 run in the Prelude, which is a race I wish they still did because I would definitely go out for this.
Right? Yeah, it's super fucking cool.
Yeah, so this was the 2009 race, which is his first attempt at this particular race, and I guess his first time driving dirt from what we learned in the video. But little 9-minute fan cam type footage. It starts off with some shots of his Jim Beam sponsored car, which I forget who he was driving for that year. I mean, obviously Jim Beam was the sponsor because pretty much all the Cup guys had cars that were related.
I believe it was his own team at that point.
Okay, it was Robbie Gordon Racing. That's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't sure. I don't know which buddy of Robbie's or crew guy it was, but there was one particular guy that they showed a few times, and he starts this video off with the quote, "Drinking the beam and living the dream," which, that's fitting.
I feel like he got as much airtime as Robbie did in that video.
Yeah,
he did.
He did that. Whoever the fuck that guy was. We get a little quote from Robbie who's talking about how he thinks David Ruderman and Carl Edwards would be the drivers to beat since they kind of have the most experience on this type of this type of track and this type of race. But he was pretty confident in himself, and he's also confident because he had Scott Bloomquist. He put the car together for him, and he was helping him the whole weekend. So when you got Bloomer behind you, you're going to do okay. He said his first time on the track, he couldn't run wide open like some of the other guys could, which I found kind of surprising. I mean, Robbie's pretty full throttle guy, and he's at least halfway decent in any vehicle he ever gets in. Being that this was 2009, the cars were still fairly symmetrical, and I definitely miss when late models looked like this because granted, I know they're fast now and all that, but there's something that I don't love about the asymmetrical cars that look super twisted.
Yeah.
I didn't love the Twisted Sister, Cup cars back in the day, and I don't necessarily love the way the current late models look, but it is what it is. I get it.
Well, good news coming for you. There seems to be sort of a concerted effort across a lot of different series and tracks to try and square the cars up again. Eldora has been introducing different templates and that sort of thing. So
that's cool.
I think we'll start to see a lot of the aero, at least this style of aerodynamics being taken out of the game, which I think will help racing in general.
That's good. We see a clip of Robbie almost running into someone during hot laps or the heat race or something. I have no idea who that was, but almost causing some shit before the race even starts. There's lots of close-ups of this car. Some weird filming, but it is what it is. They show a shot of a Robbie t-shirt. That's also, it's got the late model. It's got, the Team Zero Bloomquist on it. So I got to find that shirt for my collection. That's definitely one that I want.
Yeah.
Some more heat race footage. They show a wreck of 2 8 cars. I don't know who was in those cars. There's also a shot of what looks like to be Kevin Harvick's car overheating.
It was Eric Almirola was in one of them. That's for sure.
Okay. Then they show a shot of Kyle Busch getting in the wall in his 18 car, and then a confused redheaded child. I don't know why they just showed this kid, just very confused. No idea who that kid was. But Robbie apparently did well in his heat. You see some clips of Clint and Robbie talking, and then a Robbie just eating chicken patties and cookies. That's his pre-race meal.
Sounds about right.
Definitely the way to go. Robbie was still looking. I mean, not that Robbie's a big guy. I mean, I met Robbie a year or two ago at Mid Ohio, and it's not like he's looking huge, but definitely was a bit slimmer in 2009.
Yeah.
Being that this was in the midst of Tony Stewart's Old Spice sponsorship.
Tony Spice.
There's an old blondes prefer Old Spice. It shows up on this video board, which I thought that was funny. And I haven't gone back and watched any of this race, but like I said, a lot of this stuff is on YouTube. Robbie actually ended up getting second in this race, which again, first time in a late model. You got guys like Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer and all these other dudes who have dirt experience. Dave Blaney's in this race. Robbie goes out and beats almost all of them, so that's pretty fucking good for your first time in a dirt late model.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he did the next year, if he even made it the next year, but he seemed ready to go for the next year towards the end of it.
Yeah, he wrecked out.
Oh, well, never mind. But everybody in his pits seemed pretty happy with the performance, and Robbie seemed ready to go. So,
the other 8 car in that was Mark Martin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he was never a dirt guy, so I guess it makes sense that he wasn't that great in those cars.
I think that wreck actually, and this might be bad information, so don't quote me on this, but I think I remember that wreck being that he was then actually bending the car up a little bit too much for him to not start the feature.
Ah, okay. I see. And then I think the last little bit, you see Dick Berggren interviewing Robbie for whatever channel is broadcasting this, and kind of comparing the throttle control to his off-road trucks, to late models and stuff. So I don't know how you can really compare those two, because granted he was doing his stadium types truck racing at this time, but to me it seems incomparable. But they tried to make that connection there.
Yeah.
So just a neat video. There's a lot of different videos for these races featuring different drivers. So if you go on YouTube, just look up Prelude to the Dream. There's a lot of stuff that pops up for these videos. But
one thing I do want to point out is that Red Farmer was also in this race.
Oh wow, okay. Well, he's for 15 years later, he's still
in the race.
Still in the race. Yeah. Any other last words from you guys for this video?
I didn't really have anything to say about this one. It's pretty short and straightforward.
Yeah.
Both of the videos this week are pretty straightforward, to be honest.
Yeah.
The next one here.
I love the next one.
I was just looking up Prelude stuff, and I just found a video called "Grandma Goes to the Prelude," and
Racin' Grandma.
Racin' Grandma. Yeah. So I'll say this: I thought that maybe there was some sort of like Racin' Grandma series or something, and why the title
I wish
this way.
there was.
There unfortunately wasn't. This YouTube channel only has like 4 videos on it from like 12 years ago, and this guy's grandma, she was the feature of one of them. Like, there's only 200 views in this video, so clearly this did not go viral. But really, this is just some 90-year-old grandma that goes to the race. She's a Tony Stewart fan, and she was there to cheer on him, and she also likes Ryan Newman and Danica Patrick, who was running this race. This was the 2012 Prelude.
The last Prelude as well.
Oh, it was? Okay, that's... Well, they need to bring it back.
Yes.
Video starts off with just a shot of Grandma. I'm guessing the grandson, he's just asked her, "You ready to go?" And she just gives kind of a shy, "Sure." That's how the video starts. And really, this whole video, like, there's not a whole lot to it, but almost as soon as they get to the track, she's interviewed by somebody in the parking lot. I don't know who, but I mean, I can't imagine there are too many grandmas at this race, so I'm assuming this guy was just as blown away as most of us by seeing a 90-year-old woman at the race.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just footage of her, like, eating food. Yeah, like
a lot of big meals. Yeah.
They should have been called the Eating Grandma.
Yeah,
they're eating in this completely empty dining hall by themselves. They're in a suite by themselves too. Every single person that interacts with her is very nice to her, which she should be. It's a grandma. She's a sweet old lady, you know. There's shots of Tony's car and Danica's car and all that stuff, and for some reason, I hear there's chatter in this suite, and people are rooting for Ty Dillon of all people. Both the Pop Hop Special Boys are in this race. Tony Stewart
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch ended up winning this race. That's right. I think Tony wrecked out of this, unfortunately. Sorry, Grandma. But there's a shot of a fucking meat tray for some reason.
Very pink salami. It's like something out of Rocco's Modern Life or some shit, you know?
Yeah, it's so weird. There's only like this is a 7-minute video, and half of it is some just weird clips thrown together, and the other half is just collage of. Or a slideshow, basically, of all the different stills from the weekend. And there must be 200 different shots of Grandma just sitting at different tables or sitting in different places.
I love that it follows the same timeline, too.
A lot of pictures of piles of trash, too, at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know what I was expecting with this video. I guess it delivered. This is not what I was expecting.
This is exactly what I expected from Racing Grandma. So
I was definitely hoping for more actual grandma footage of her talking about the race and stuff. That was probably the biggest disappointment out of all this. But
same.
It definitely seemed like what happens when you bring a 90-year-old woman to the race. And let's be honest, folks. She is 100% dead at this point. I didn't find any other info on Grandma.
Damn,
she was 90. She was 90, and this was filmed 12 years ago. She is dead. She has to be dead.
Wow.
She's got to be dead. Come on.
If anyone knows the whereabouts or condition of Racing Grandma, please let us know so we can pay some proper respect. There was another old biddy in there in the suite with her.
She did. She made a friend.
Yes. There was a Meemaw in there. Yeah. And they enjoyed that very pink cheese tray. Yeah, it was very sweet. The slideshow at the end was cracking me up because it was literally just the exact same timeline as the videos put together at the front. And just lots of shots. Like every picture that was taken made the slideshow. There was no editing whatsoever. Just everything we got, we put into this video. And I loved this.
She was so precious, and it was such a wholesome video. Like, this was like a bucket list item for her that she was getting to check off, which I love that.
Yeah.
But
same.
I was definitely hoping for a lot more, like a sassy grandma that was talking a lot, and that is not what we got. It was like a quiet, sweet grandma who didn't say much.
Yeah, who loves Tony Stewart.
I will say my very first thought when I first saw her was, oh my gosh, her white hair, it was so white. I was like, it's going to get so dirty.
It's going to be red by the end of the night.
So I was happy to see that she was sitting in a suite the whole time.
Yeah. She had her hover round parked out on the terrace for a little bit, so she definitely watched a little bit of racing from up there.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy how, despite the production quality of it, and it's most definitely not pro, not even amateur really. It's just some random shots off of I couldn't even been a cell phone, I don't think, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It does paint a pretty accurate picture of being on the grounds at Eldora. And they kind of unintentionally...
The wholesome side of things.
The wholesome side of things, yeah. And some of the non-wholesome side of things with all the beer cans laying around. You kind of get an idea. But, I loved this video so much. And especially after not being able to go to Eldora this year for the Dream, it made me very lonesome.
Want to be a racing grandpa?
I want to be racing grandpa, yeah, for sure. And I think all of us can hope that we make it... if we make it to be that old anyway, to be that healthy and still be going out there and getting to go to races and never stop doing this because of our health.
Yeah, I won't have any grandkids, but I hope somebody wills me out to a racetrack in 50 more years.
Yeah,
so.
Seriously.
Well, I hope I'm dead by the time I'm 90 personally, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Our arthritic hands will come.
We'll make a montage of you.
Yeah, exactly. We'll put a montage. We'll spill your ashes on our way into the to Eldora.
Yeah, on our rascals, racing on our rascals.
On our rascals with our arthritic hands. So. Oh no.
Oh, Brian.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Video of the week. I think Brian dropped off again, but yeah, I love this one so much.
I muted myself. Sorry, I don't know how I did that. So to piggyback off of the grandma video of this week, so I decided to just do a little search for just racing grandma and see what came up, and I actually did find a 5-minute clip from the World of Speed and Beauty, whatever the hell that old show is.
Yeah.
We watched one of those episodes before with the monster trucks, but I found a 5-minute clip of a grandma that drag races. Haven't watched it yet, but that's going to be one of them.
Hell yeah.
So I think it's going to be a little more exciting than the last grandma video, but we'll see.
I hope it's the same lady.
Could be.
I don't this was filmed in like 1985, so I doubt it's the same grandma. Plus it's drag racing, so there's that. The second video,
guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So the second video, NASCAR is in Iowa for the first time this weekend, and I think if you're a racing fan, when you think of Iowa, I think especially those of us who are dirt fans, you think of Knoxville. And the second video I found, it seems to be like just a local TV station's, like a 10-minute clip, Channel 5 Iowa Racing Report from, what year is this from? 1997. So I didn't go all the way through it. I kind of just skimmed through it. I saw some commercials in there and some dirt track stuff. So that should be an interesting 10-minute video. And the final one, a very random selection of videos this week. We're all collectors on some different levels of racing stuff. And I was trying to just look for some weird NASCAR diecast videos. I don't know if I was trying to find a documentary or something, but what I did find is a channel that just hunts diecast, and the video that we're going to watch is called Hunting NASCAR Diecast at Buc-ee's. So
hell yeah.
I don't know what the fuck Buc-ee's has for NASCAR stuff. I didn't see any at the one near Darlington, but these guys apparently were searching for diecast at Buc-ee's, so that's going to be the third video of the week.
Hell yeah. By the way, as we were talking about racing grandma, Kyle Larson just picked up a win in high limit tonight, and so cashing one of his own checks.
Are you gonna say he picked up a grandma?
He picked up a grandma. Well, who knows what they do after the races, but
I don't want to comment on that.
Oh man, you guys doing any racing stuff this weekend?
We might go to Dixie Speedway on Saturday.
Hell yeah.
They're doing, they call it Truck Fest, I don't know, but 604 and 602 late models are running, but they're also doing a truck tug of war and a truck demolition derby, so.
Sick. Yeah, you gotta go to that.
Yeah.
How about you, Brad?
I don't think I have anything on the schedule at the moment. I think my Saturday is pretty busy with work stuff. I might see if, I don't know if Painesville is running Saturday or Sunday, the local asphalt track. So maybe I'll try to get out to one of those, but nothing this weekend on the schedule as of yet.
Yeah. I think weather depending, of course, I'll be out at Stafford. Naturally, it's beautiful all fucking week until Friday evening.
Yep.
Right about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Perfect.
Which is
Just
right when the
want.
open modified, the Casella 80 is about to kick back off. So we'll see how that goes. But if I'm at Stafford, come say what's up. I'll be running around with a camera. So
Nice. Well, I hope that family comes back up, but we'll see.
yeah, I'm sure we'll see him in New England a lot more. I think they had a good time, and I think they, they're definitely going to be back up here. There's a big break during the summer for the Smart Tour, and they're going to be looking for stuff to do. So I think we'll see him at least a couple more times up here in New England.
Cool. Well, I don't think there's anything else to talk about for this week, so I guess that'll be it. As always, you can join us or follow us at Meet Me at Applebee's on Instagram and Meet Me at the Bees on Twitter. I am Speedway Screens on all the things, and speedwaytsj.etsy.com is the store. Meemaw, what's your plug?
Still Snake Mountain, True Love.
Sleep Mountain, Shrimp Love.
Yeah. Just kicked in. I'll try to share. I have a ton of videos I took at Bowman Gray that I need to share. So
Yeah, I'd love to see those.
Yeah.
Rob Motes _unofficial. My band's called These Wild Plains. Also, my boss, Charlie Marie, just dropped her Western as Fuck video with my guitar player, Nick. And it looks fucking excellent and sounds great. So
Released on the interwebs?
It is on the internet. You can find it on YouTube. I think there's a couple more of them dropping later in the week, but the first video just released today, and it looks awesome. So go check that out.
Yeah.
All the Western as Fuck stuff is really good looking and sounds great. So their whole channel's worth a listen, but particularly Charlie Marie. So
cool. All right, folks. Well, looks like the check is here. So as always, thanks for joining us at Applebee's, and we'll talk to you next week.